Hi students, I hope you all are doing well at home, and I also hope that you have implemented all the programs that was related with the concept of inheritance and that we have discussed earlier. Now we are moving towards an important concept of inheritance, that is function overriding. Okay. Now, before talking about function overriding, we should know the concept of function overloading first, right? Because these are interrelated terms, we are using the concept of function overloading and overriding in C++. So sometimes we get confused basically what is the concept, what is the basic difference between these two terms. So I'm just giving you a quick recap of function overloading. What was the concept of function overloading? It was basically to use the same function name having different number of parameter or having different type of parameter to perform multiple related activities basically, right? But now in case of function overriding, overriding is always used in the concept of inheritance, right? So the first point that you have to remember is this: overriding is used in inheritance. That means we are having a base class and we are deriving a class. But now if we are defining function overriding is a feature of OOPS programming that allows us to override a function of base class in derived class. That means we are using the concept of inheritance, right? We are having a function in base class and we are redefining that particular member function of base class in derived class, right? So it is the redefinition, basically redefinition of base class function in its derived class with the same signature, right? What does it mean? That means having same return type and using the same parameter that we are using in the base class. And second point is what? It can only be done in derived class. Obviously, we can redefine a member function of base class in derived class only. Alright. Now we will try to understand the concept of function overriding through different examples. So example 1, I'm taking from your book only. So in this example we are taking a class person, that is your base class, and we are having two data members, that is name and phone number, that we have declared private. And then we are taking two member function, that is read and show. Read is basically used to enter the name and phone number, and show is used to display the same, right? So this is your base class, and what we are trying to do over here, we are trying to redefine this read and show in your derived class, which will give the concept of function overriding. Okay. So to derive a class from this base class, we are using this syntax: class keyword, then derived class name student, colon, access specifier, then your base class name, that is person. Okay. Now in this student derived class, we are having two additional data member, that is roll number and course. And now we are redefining read and show that we have already defined in your base class, right? So this is redefinition, having the same return type and without parameters as we have used in base class name. So in this read, this is the read of your derived class. We are first calling the read of your base class. So to call read of your base class, we have to use like this: base class name, scope resolution operator, then your base read function. So it will call this read first. We will enter the name and phone number, and then we will enter the roll number and course, that is additional data member of student. And same we are doing in case of show. So it gives the concept of function overriding. Okay. Now this is the continuation of that program only. So in main function now we will make object of derived class, that is your student class, and now we are calling read with the help of this object, right? So s1 dot read, it will call read of your derived class, and in similar way to display the student information we will be calling show function, and it gives the concept of function overriding. I hope it is clear to you. Now we are taking another example to understand the concept of function overriding. In this program, we are taking a class A, that is your base class, and in base class we are just taking a function that is member function of base class, that is display, right? And we are just displaying a line base class display, and we are taking another member function that is xyz, that is also base member function of base class. Now we are obviously we are using the concept of function overriding. We have to take two separate classes. One is base class, and then we have to derive a class from that particular base class. Now we are deriving a class B from this class A, and this is very simple example to understand. Now we are redefining display in derived, right? But now we in this display we are not calling the display of this base class. We will have another method to call in main. So I'm just going to show it over here. Now in main, we are creating an object of your derived class, and with the help of this object we are calling display function. So it will automatically call the display of your derived class. Now if we want to call the display of your base class, then we have to assign the reference of your base class to the derived class object. So basically this is the way how we are going to do it. This is your base class, and this is your reference object 2 equal to this is your derived class. So now with the help of object 2 we are going to call display. So it will be basically the display of your base class, right? Now after understanding the concept of function overriding with various examples, and function overloading that we have already implemented in class. So what will be the differences between these two? So now you can understand them well. First one is inheritance. Obviously, overriding of function occurs when one class is inherited from another class. That means overriding concept is used in inheritance only. And overloading can occur without inheritance also, without the concept of object of classes also. And second point, that is function signature. Signature means number of parameters, type of parameters. So overloaded function must differ in function signature, that is either number of parameters or type of parameter. As we have discussed earlier also, in case of function overloading we were having different number of parameters in one case, and in another we were having the different type of parameters. But in case of overriding, function signatures that must be the same as we have done in this program. The return type, the parameters, if we are using any, they should match. The signature should be same as we have used in base, that the same we have to use in derived class. Now third one is scope of functions. Overridden functions are in different scopes because we are using them in different classes, whereas overloaded functions are in same scope. Okay. Now the last difference, that is the behavior of functions. Overriding is needed when derived class function has to do some added or different job than the base class function, and overloading is used to have the same name function which behave differently depending upon parameters passed to them. So so differences are important, and you just try to implement the programs that we have discussed today. And if you have any kind of query, you can ask me. Okay.